Dim sum, the Great Wall, Tibetan Buddhism, all are symbols synonymous with China, and these and other icons are becoming more and more familiar to foreigners. China's tourism rates have greatly expanded in the 4 decades since its reform and opening up. Officials with travel agency Ctrip say of the 139 million people who visited China in 2017, a growing number, 29.16 million, were foreign tourists.
I think probably the history here is very, very interesting. It's such an old country, so we did a lot of like the tourist attractions while we were here too.
The Great Wall, because I think that it's amazing. I believe that something that it's really huge, really ancient, so it should be something very, very important and specific for our culture.
Going to central Beijing, to the Dongcheng district, and walking around in the hutongs, and this is very nice. It's very charming. For me, even more charming than the new parts.
It's open. Here, people are open-minded. You can find everything what you want, what you need, and it's really safe here. So that is why I'm here. I realize that it's everything like at home. It's different language, but I feel something similar here.
The 2022 Winter Olympic Games are set to take place in Beijing and towns in nearby Hebei province. Ctrip officials say Beijing 2022 will only add more momentum to the growing Chinese tourism boom.
从历史经验来看，体育赛事一直是东道国。Historically, sporting events have been an important factor for host countries to attract foreign tourists and promote tourism growth. For example, Russia hosted this year's World Cup. The number of Chinese who applied for Russian tourist visas was much higher this summer versus the same period in 2016. You can expect the same sort of thing for Beijing Olympics.
奥运会亦是如此。
Yen adds that inbound foreign tourists stay an average of 3 days in China, with Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou the top 3 destinations.
可能第一是因为
Shanghai and Beijing have excellent economic development. Secondly, the transportation between these two cities is convenient, and their hotel quality and high level of service personnel are also important factors in attracting foreign tourists to China.
And as more and more overseas tourists come to China, they have some advice for other foreign tourists.
Do your research before you come, because it is such a big country, to figure out exactly what sites you want to see before you come.
And having the translation app, anyone, and downloading the offline package, it just means that I'm able to communicate with people in shops, in taxis, in restaurants, which I was not able to do without that.
It's an adventure, and if somebody has something new to discover, finally Asia is that place to come.
In a country of nearly 1.5 billion people, there's much to see and do. Mark Fontes, CGTN, Beijing.
No, this is the reason.
All right, that does it for this edition of The World Today. I'm Erin.
No, this is the reason why China is taking over the world in terms of tourism. Now, countries of the world have learned the need to understand the necessities of learning from China and taking not just the technology but also tourism to the next level in order to benefit from the potentials that lie in nature. As you can see, China is topping the world in tourism, and all areas we have been are mostly areas that are natural habitations but tailored with unprecedented innovations in driving the necessary attraction that foreigners or tourists all over the world hope to see. Now, there is nothing in the world that promotes tourism as good as innovation. And I'm bold to say that China has got what it takes to make innovation a sense of attraction at all levels. Now, from what we've seen and every indication, you understand that this is the destination of tourism, both medical, tourism, educationally, tourism in all sectors of the Chinese Republic. There is innovations and tourism is taking a rightful place. Now, developing countries with abundant resources, natural habitations, why not introduce innovations and little of inventions in making it a creative venture to attract tourism and as well development to rural areas in Nigeria, in Africa, and other developing countries around the world. I think we must have a right narrative by doing the best thing and also learning from the China experience. Now, China has 5 ideas which have transformed this very country. 1 is innovation, 2 is coordination, 3 is green, 4 is sharing, and 5 is opening up. Now, these are the 5 national philosophical principles that have driven China's developmental stride over the years. From 1978 to 2018 has been 4 decades of unprecedented development, years of transformation of the People's Republic of China. And that's why you see today they are the second largest economy in the world, and they have major initiative like the Road and Belt Initiative that is taking over the world by storm, trying to connect development across the world, promoting ideologies of shared responsibility among community of nations, and as well driving principles of political leadership in terms of development, and as well instituting infrastructures or more or less measures of abating corruption. Now, abating corruption and other ills that characterize the public service in developing countries, as we have seen in Nigeria and other countries in the world. I think at this point, I want to strongly believe that changing the narrative will become a critical factor in having the best of all in Nigeria and other countries in the world. It's good to be in China. I've visited so many areas across the provinces in China, and I've seen the level of trust and the innovation they drive based on the 5 national philosophical principles, which are innovation, coordination, green, sharing, and opening up. And it is fantastic to say that everything about China is centered on this principle, and I commend their president, President Xi Jinping, for being wonderful and also driving or steering the ship of development for these years in these countries. And other leaders have made so much sacrifice in ensuring that China, the People's Republic of China, becomes a global destination for the world. Thank you. I am John Nuket, right here in Southern Medical University in Guangzhou, People's Republic of China. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.